guys, we'll get rolling. First and foremost, let me say this, and I'm sure if Jamie was up here, he would do this. But our fan base today, even before the game, the tribute to Thalia, the emotion in that stadium. Our fans are the best in the country, and a really tough week, an emotional week in Ames, Iowa. And to be quite honest with you, you hope a little bit of today starts the healing process. But we got the best fans in the country, and quite honestly, it was a very interesting week in a lot of ways in terms of watching this community rally around each other. And I said this quite honestly when we went up to Marshalltown this summer. One of the things that makes it really special to be an Iowan is how these communities rally around each other and stand together. So I thought a really impactful day, and obviously the game being a little bit of the second part of really today in a lot of ways. Great to go get a win, and I thought our kids responded, stayed the course. I know it wasn't always perfect today, but I thought our ability and resiliency to stay the course, I really appreciate our student athletes. I think you maybe mistake what 18 to 22-year-olds go through, and I was really proud of our kids.
Matt, David didn't play, he played sporadically in the second half. What's the update there?
Yeah, I think he's fine. Just got dinged up a little bit, and trying to be smart with them, and especially giving some of those guys some opportunities to carry the football. I thought Johnny came in, did a really good job, gave us a little spark, and Sheldon's played really good for us. I know, he has the fumble today. I really believe in that young man. He's a guy that played outstanding in spring practice and fall camp, and Kene, and we certainly can't lose sight of Michael. We'll need all of them, but that's really the reason why. But he came in, he played in the second half. We just try to be really smart with him in the second half.
I know, Matt, you always talk about winning in the margins. How much do some of the little mistakes that happened today kind of eat at you, and then how badly do you need to get them cleared up right away?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not naive. I think the reality of it is those are areas, on both sides of the football and even in special teams where, big plays happen, good things happen, and then, we shoot ourselves in the foot a little bit. And that is, you can't do that here at Iowa State. You can't win games. And, we won today because we stayed the course and ran the football and stopped the run. Those things are really what allowed us to mitigate some of those mistakes. But at the end of it, if you're talking about where we want to go and what we have the potential to do, obviously those things aren't what we can do to win football games at the caliber that we're about to play in.
Do you feel like you guys have been able to develop an offensive identity through 3 games?
Yeah, I think it's hard a little bit because you play drastically different teams. You play a team today that's going to not give up the big play, right? They're going to sit back. They're going to put an extra hat in the box, play off, and make you methodically drive the ball down the field. One thing that was great to see is Iowa had the same approach, and quite honestly, we had the ability to navigate through that, right? That was great. I think the reality of playing in Oklahoma, who's going to be aggressive and physical, we had the ability to take what the defense gave us. So I do think we're growing drastically, and I thought Zeb had another really good day. I didn't think he forced things. I thought he really played good football. We knew the only way, one of the ways that they could beat us was kind of how they won last week, by making mistakes and turning the ball over. And I thought Zeb did a really good job of managing the football game. So I would say we're growing. I think there's a lot of growth. I think the O-line continues to go in a good way. Mueller got dinged up in practice last week, so he didn't start. Colin Olsen has to go in, his first career start, and it was good to see Colin go play. But, when we see Mueller back, and I do think that part of not having 5 guys consistently, now that's your third lineup in 3 weeks, that, you'd love to get a group in there and kind of start to really develop that group and grow.
Mike Rose, was he another guy you were kind of resting a little bit in the
second
half?
And again, I think Orion Vance, I give Orion a lot of credit. He's improving. And I think just trying to, Mike's played a lot of snaps in the first 2 weeks, and, emotional snaps, critical snaps, and I think just the ability to create rotation on that defense is huge for us going forward. So, I think a lot of that had to do with Orion and his development and growth as much as anything.
You roll the dice a little bit there in the second half, coming out. You had your momentum after scoring in the first half, coming out with the ball, and David on the sidelines, when in fact he did end up playing. Yeah,
I don't know if we're rolling the dice. I think we really trust our guys that are behind him. you know, we've got guys and, you know, that haven't even probably got in and got enough carries yet that we think are really good football players. The hard thing about that position is we know there's one ball. But, you know, I don't think we're rolling the dice. I think Johnny's first run goes for 12 yards coming right out. So, you know, we really trust those guys.
How much does it help to have a guy like Akeem Butler when you're facing some of those tough situations?
Pretty impressive. You know, I think that's where you're seeing his growth grow. Continues to do a really good job and continues to be a guy of consistency for us. You know, I think that's the one thing that I am pleased is our big time players are playing at a big time rate right now, and it's just bridging that gap with some of those other guys. But Akeem's done a really good job.
What have you seen from the defense, and especially in the second half of really all 3 games, but especially today?
Well, again, adjustments I think become critical, you know, and I think even offensively, defensively, you know, trying to play in rhythm. I thought there was finally some rhythm through the second quarter, third quarter of the football game where we created the rhythm and the recipe of what's it going to take to win the game. How do you want to go win this football game? And I thought that, you know, defensively, our ability to get off the field a little bit better in the second half was critical. You know, some of those points in the first half come off third down situations, second and long situations, which are still, you know, defensively recipe for our success, and then offensively, you know, having the ability to consistently win on first down. I think those 2 things are things you want to go back to and say, how do we keep getting better? Because those are things that last 2 weeks that maybe we need to continue to correct.
What went into the decision to put Brock into the game then?
Well, you know, I think just the reality of trying to get him, you know, some critical reps in the game, and you know, he gives us a little bit of different, you know, he gives us some mobility, he gives you that high-end elite passer, and certainly gives you the ability to manage the football game. And so, you know, I think we went down to the red zone, you know, thought obviously they've had more hats in the box than we could block for most of the game, and just the ability to put hats on hats and see what he could do. So just change it up a little bit, but we'll see what Brock continues to do. He's practiced really well.
How's that against Connor been for you guys?
Well, yeah, he's been a great surprise. I think, again, goes back to competition. When you have competition in your program and a young man earns the right to be that player, usually you see great things happen. And, you know, Connor wasn't the starter out of spring, wasn't the starter going into fall camp. Nobody was, but yet he had to go earn the right to be that guy. And I think his consistency is exactly what gave him the ability to earn that job. And I think we all saw that today, and I thought that was really powerful. And he's done a great job for us. You know, I'm really proud of him. He was kind of at least my player of the game. I hope he's not many more players of the game, but certainly was the player of the game today for us.
Was
there
your
anything
biggest frustration?
specific injury-wise with David and Mueller?
No, you know, both of them honestly just dinged up. You know, Josh's situation probably could have went today. I don't know. You know, we just didn't want to push it. It was a tough situation in practice. If it was tomorrow, you probably would have saw him start the football game. And, you know, David's situation really similar. You know, I didn't want to put ourselves in a situation that maybe he could have had long-term injury. And again, we really trust, to be honest with you, both those guys have played. Colin Olson's a kid that's played for us, and in the early part of the season, he's had a really good rise. We moved him from defense to offense, and it's been fun to watch him. And those backs, I mean, we trust those guys and feel like we've got a really good backfield. So to put those guys in situations that maybe they're not 100%, I just think it would be a mistake from our end.
You mentioned not wanting to have Connor as the player of the game much. Was that the biggest frustration, is just not converting on some of those third downs? And a lot of times seem like more difficult because of third and long.
Yeah, I just think playing smart down there, to be honest with you. You know, it's a kind of game where, you know, that team, 2 red zone turnovers last week that go for touchdowns, you know, and they do that because their ability to play off the football and see the ball. And I think our big thing was, how do we complement our defense? You know, we're winning field position battle, we're doing a good job. Let's not put our offense in a tough situation. So I thought we did a really good job managing through those. And the only way you do that is if you really trust a guy like Connor to go in and get points on the board for you. And I thought they did a great job. Now, I would also tell you, do we got to get better down there? Yes. You know, we've got to score touchdowns, especially I think in critical situations. But I thought a little bit of the game dictated how we played down there today as well.
David still ends up with more than 100 yards rushing. Do you think that was more of a product of just his elusiveness today, or was the O-line maybe getting a better push than
Yeah, I thought I was really, and this is early, and you guys know I'll be really honest, especially about that group come Tuesday. But I really thought, first, a really talented defensive line. I thought there was really good push today. You know, I thought we had a really good scheme. I thought you saw the ability to consistently run the football, and I thought those things were really positive. Now, you know, are we where we want to be? No, but I think the reality of a lot of those is getting great vertical push and having the ability to start to have some identity to ourselves in the running game, which was a first step for us.
Chase be back next week?
Yeah, we'll see. You know, that'll be probably a Tuesday, Wednesday call, and probably have more information for you on Tuesday on that. But you know, he's, as I've said, he's played really good football for us early on, and it was good to have a Kolar and certainly have some of those other guys who go in and help ourselves out.
In terms of the defense, you've got a lot of big individual plays, Eisworth breakups, Jaquan's pressure, a lot of things. How does that reflect the little things that you want to see, the details you want to see?
Well, I think whom probably as much as anything. Jaquan Bailey here all summer long, every day in this facility, trying to become the best he can be. Greg Eisworth from the day he came on campus. And that's all I mean. Our best players who act like it every day, who come to work every day, they're playing really good football. Through 3 games, you'd say, man, those guys are really good football players. They're playing at a really high rate. And that's the thing that I can lay my head down tonight and know that we're continuing to go in the right direction, because those guys are our best leaders. And I know I said this before the season, and I still feel really confident about it, is when your best players are your hardest workers and they're the guys that are outworking everybody else, sooner or later everybody's going to try to catch up to those guys. And that's where Eisworth's at, and that's where Keem Butler's at, and that's where Montgomery and all those guys really are. They're doing that because of their work ethic, and so I'm really proud of those guys. I think they're all playing, some of those guys are all playing a really high rate for us.
What have you seen from Braxton? What have you seen from Braxton? He kind of gets a bigger role, at least to us when we see him on the depth chart.
Yeah.
And now he goes out and makes a play almost right away in this game.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him taking that new role?
Yeah, I think again, complimenting just my response, he's one of the most trusted players in our program. His work ethic, he's overachieves in everything he does. He's a guy that demands himself to be played because of his work ethic. And I think he's a guy that embodies what I want our program to be about and stand for. His work ethic, his consistency, his ability to come to work every day. And ultimately then it allows him to make the plays that he makes. He's played really good football as well for us in the first 3 games. So he's much needed and really proud of him.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right, guys, thank you.